The Power of Little Mix is a global original podcast with Pop Buzz. To listen to the whole series right now, download the Global Player app where you can already listen to all 5 episodes for free. A quick warning, this podcast contains some adult language. It's 2014. Following the incredible success of DNA, Little Mix are now in the midst of promo for their critically acclaimed sophomore album, Salute. The girls have something huge to announce. Little Mix are going on their very first US headline tour.
Hi, US Mixers! We're coming to see you on tour! We cannot wait. We'll be headlining our own US tour, so we want to see as many of you guys there as possible. Get your tickets, come down and see us. Yeah. It's going to be a night to remember. It's going to be fine! Yeah. Got lots of cheeky treats and stuff for you as well while we're over there, so keep your eye on the prize. Yes.
You can tell from Little Mix's excitement just how important this tour is to them. However, it never happened. Just 3 months later, Little Mix announced that they had cancelled their US dates to prioritise finishing their 3rd album. And recording a 3rd album wasn't simple either. Little Mix struggled to find a direction for the record, and they scrapped the entire project. The girls were scared that their careers were over.
We pulled the plug, we rang the label and we were like, nah, it's not happening. And they're like, what do you mean? And we were like, we'll keep like 2 or 3 songs and the rest we scrapped and started again, which was scary.
There was no need to fear though. Little Mix's career was only just beginning, and one song changed everything for them.
It took Black Magic to come for us to find the way of the album, where it was going to go. I think that's what put it all together. I remember we all listened to that together and like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm Sam Prance from Pop Buzz, and I'm a Day One mixer. And this is The Power of Little Mix, a podcast series celebrating a decade of making girl group history. Over the course of 5 episodes, I'll be taking you behind the scenes of Little Mix's journey. Throughout the series, we'll have exclusive interviews with Jade, Leigh-Anne and Perrie as they look back on the past 10 years. We'll also hear from members of Little Mix's inner circle. In this episode, we'll be exploring the second stage of Little Mix's career by looking at how they elevated their sound, the moment that they thought their label would drop them, and the secret potion behind Get Weird's success. We'll also find out about the making of Salute and what touring with Little Mix is really like when I catch up with songwriter Maegan Cottone and Little Mix's long-term dance captain, Claudimar Neto. From Move to Black Magic, this is how Little Mix took their career to a whole new level. So you went straight from DNA into Salute, and obviously DNA was great, but Salute as an album really feels like a level up. It still sounds so fresh. I would say that it's one of the greatest girl band albums of all time in terms of being cohesive and having that signature sound. Did you feel like that when you were making it?
Yeah.
Yes. I think we just got cool as hell with Salute.
Mm-hmm.
Songs like Boy.
Mr. Loverboy.
Yeah. It was so much more R&B, wasn't it? It was more a body of work. I think DNA, we were experimenting a lot. We were figuring out our sound. It was our first album. It was very random. And then I think with Salute, it was just so R&B. Even the campaign shoot we did was all cohesive and neat and it's nice, It was a nice piece of work.
Yeah.
And I still listen to it.
And vocal led as well.
Yeah.
We went in with the harmonies. We wanted to be like that. I think On Vogue was a massive influence for us.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it's also the album where you girls have got the most collective co-writes as well. Did the label give you more creative control with Salute?
Yeah. And I think it was interesting that was what we sort of came up with ourselves. It was very much what we wanted to listen to. And I feel like it was almost a little ahead of its times. I feel like if we brought out Salute now, it would still do well. I feel like UK radio and the industry then probably wasn't ready enough for that kind of record.
No.
Yeah.
And quickfire, what are your favourite songs on Salute?
Ooh. Boy, Mr. Loverboy.
I think Boy, I still listen to so many songs on Salute.
Yeah.
Competition, was that on Salute?
Oh, yeah.
That.
I mean, even Nothing Feels Like You felt like a single.
Nothing Feels Like You.
Oh, Nothing Feels Like You.
Do you know what? That's like a wasabi moment. That should have been the single.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, remember we wanted it as the Sport Relief single instead of Word Up.
Yes. It would have been so sick.
It would have been so perfect. Remember we were so pissed off.
That was my next question.
Oh, that pisses off so much because they were like, oh, you have to have an original cover blah, 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 to do Sport Relief. So then we had to do Word Up. And the next year, Sam Smith did Lay Me Down or something. We were like, the audacity. You told us we had to do a cover.
Yeah, we were fuming.
And also the fact that Salute was overflowing with potential singles. Rude.
Very rude. Very, very harsh. Very, very rude.
Yeah.
Little Mix will be back in a bit. But before we move on, now feels like the perfect time to salute one of the icons involved in writing many of the most memorable songs from Little Mix's second album. Maegan Cottone originally worked as Little Mix's vocal coach and arranger. From Move and Salute to FU and Confetti, it's impossible to imagine Little Mix's discography without Maegan. With that in mind, I caught up with Maegan to find out what it's like working with Little Mix and how the iconic anthem she co-wrote came into fruition. So you were Little Mix's vocal coach and arranger before you started writing with them, weren't you?
That's right.
How did that come about?
I just recently signed my first publishing deal to Phrase Differently, who I'm still with, and Ian James, who's also quite a big part of their journey, written some really key songs, Wings, DNA. He'd put them in touch with a friend of his called Phil. Phil Angatil is an Aussie. He does producing, writing, vocal coaching, arranging, all of that good stuff. And he was here for a while. So Ian had put the girls together with Phil for the vocal coaching. And when Phil went back to Australia about 6 months later, he said, look, I want to put you forward for this vocal coaching role. I think you'd be really good. And I was like, oh my God. I literally thought I'd won the lottery because I'm so voco-centric in how I live my life. It was a dream. And to work with the girls was amazing. Before I kind of had any career, really. For me, it was like an opportunity to like do what I love. I said to myself, even if I only work with them on the vocal coaching and I never write them a song, that's fine because it's such an opportunity. But as time went on, I got to know their A&Rs, Guy and Anya at Psycho. And one day I kind of been playing stuff I'd been working with. And Anya said, would you like a session with the girls? And I was like, oh my good God. And so we arranged the session. I said, I'd really like to work with Duval as the producer. And obviously you'll know him from being part of the Disciples. They came in that day to the studio with Duval and I. And he just started with that boom, boom, dun, 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 dun on the keyboard. And I think it came out of nowhere. It was like, hey, baby, like that first line. And Anya, I remember going, yay!
Wait, so Move was the first song you actually did with them? Like literally first session?
The first song. We had this little thing. We were throwing things out. We didn't really crack it. It took a while because it's a little bit of a weird one, isn't it? As everyone knows, it's a bit of a Frankenstein's monster, but a beautiful one. But there's pieces, it jumps here and there. It works, but it wasn't like written on that first day. Like many other famous songs, this was not that. This really wasn't. That's how it came that I started to work with them. The kind of vocal thing. Yeah.
You can tell with your songs that you've written with them as well, though, because they all have some of their best vocal arrangements. Like Move in particular, it's so vocal-led as well as being a total bop.
Totally. And for me, the voice is the lead instrument. And I think that shows in the arranging because I'm like, let's stick another harmony in there. But for Move, as I say, it's such an odd song that the vocals really carry the whole thing. And you've got a very simple production behind it, but it's just the right balance for the song, how it is. Even I listen back now, it's kind of rough and ready in places, but, you know, it just works, doesn't it?
Completely. Did you know when you were actually recording it that it would be the lead single? Like, when did you find that out?
Oh, they never said anything. I'm such an idiot. I'm so naive. You know, we did session after session trying to piece this thing together. And to give them massive credit, Guy and Anya really led the charge because we couldn't crack it. And they were like, come on, guys, let's try this. Why don't we try and bring in Ludacris to do the when I move, you move, just like that, just to kind of take it somewhere. But we tried it. It didn't feel right. They were really driving it because, you know, you kind of lose your mojo after like 3,000 hours of doing it. It wasn't that, I'm exaggerating, but right at the end, like Anya was like, so when we got it and it was all recorded for the album, she was like, this is going to be the first single. And I think I probably cried like a child. as I usually do. Yeah, I cried a lot, but it was the best thing ever. We knew they loved it, but we didn't know that it was going to be the single. So that was amazing. Me and Deval were amazingly happy.
You co-wrote Salute as well, which has now become one of their most iconic tour songs. Every tour that song goes off so much. Were you thinking of that when you were recording it, about how it would be like to perform?
No, I was indulging myself, really. So the week after we did Move and got that seed of an idea, and he said, would you like to work with TMS? I was like, yes, please. Are you crazy? Of course. Like, you know, at this point, it had some mega hits under their belt. So I went in and I met the three guys, and then Fro, he's the quiet one, but he's like got all the like crazy trap beats, and so he was like playing the little beat, and I was going da 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 da. It didn't sound like anything at this point, literally nothing. No melody, no chords. It was just a beat. But the girls were like, "Oh, I'm feeling that," and so we all sat down, and the girls we were going through, and I was going, "Oh, oh," or something like that. And we found the word salute. And Jade and Geordie was like, salute, salute, you know, which cracked me up. So that is how that one kind of started. And we wrote that verse, ladies all across the world, you know, and they were like, go and sing it in the booth. So I went in. Fro had been making the beat and finished the production with the guys, and all the guys were like chucking stuff on at the speed of light. It was amazing. So when I went into the booth, we had the verse and the pre. I recorded it, and then I sang the same thing higher. And you'll notice the chorus is the same lyrics, everything the same, but just at a higher pitch. And that's how it was written. It was an accident. Just by like, I was just improvising. I thought I'll just throw it in here, because we didn't have a chorus, and that was the chorus.
What a chorus, though, because I can't imagine any of their live performances now without that song. It literally raises the entire arena.
Totally. I love it for that. It's an amazing anthem, an empowering song for women, and people always ask me about it. Like, did you have this plan? Did you and the girls think up and orchestrate this? No. It wrote itself. It was the ladies all across the world. That lyric opened the gate for the empowering story in there. I love it, and I love that you love it, and I love that everyone loves it.
And like going back to the girls specifically, how have they each individually developed as vocalists and writers since you started working with them?
I think all of them know who they are now. They know that their own voices, their own instruments are integral to the group. The colour that each voice brings makes that vocal harmony, that ensemble, are like so unique. Perrie with that richness, that velvet that she brings, that powerhouse, that is such a unique voice. That girl has God-given talent. Jade is the chameleon. She can be all the different things you need. She'll be like, oh, I can do this, do this. So she's like a bit of a secret weapon in that way. Leigh-Anne has got the most incredible high belt. But going back, I don't think they knew how special their voices were. And so they've developed over time, getting that confidence. Even your age, like a female voice doesn't really mature till you're like 25. So now the girls are a little bit older. You listen back to like the first song they recorded to Wings, Perrie sounds like a different person. Obviously the old tonsil fiasco, you know, she's had them out. But my God, how special her voice is now. She's just really got such an amazing sound. And I love listening to Leigh-Anne. She's got this soft, delicate, breathy whisper, and then she can smack you in the face with those big ad-libs. Jade's just like, I don't know, she does everything and she can do it well because she practices. I have massive respect for all of them, and the journey has been beautiful to watch, actually.
So what is your favourite song that you've worked on with the girls?
I think as a Little Mix fan, I do love Salute. I'm not going to say that because it's my song, but I just love it because of the anthem kind of thing. I love Boy. It's an a cappella because, again, it was me and Jade. I was like, okay, put this in. And she was like, what about this? So we invented this kind of like part at the beginning that they left the beat out of, I think because they liked what we'd done. So that was kind of amazing to hear it. But I think that should have been a single. That is an incredible piece of work. That's Camille and Red Triangle, I think. I freaking loved it. That floored me. That was old school R&B coming back full force. Amazing song.
It's perfect. And what's your favourite memory with the girls?
Oh, this is a hard one. Oh, I feel emotional when you said that. there's been so much like love and friendship in my journey with them, because as you know, I started off as their vocal coach and whatever. I toured America with them for 5 weeks. I went to Australia with them a couple of times. I've done so much. I don't know what the favourite memories are, because it's like saying, what's your favourite memories with your friends? Like, there's just so much. I don't think I could even answer it. I just have so much love for them. Truly, they're like sisters to me.
Now, just finally, what is the best thing about working with them?
They're lovely, amazing, funny, talented, weird ways. That's what it is. Farts and all. I didn't say that. They're dirty.
I mean, they've said it plenty of times.
And Perrie has no sense of smell, so she doesn't know the damage she does. And my God, let me tell you, when you're pregnant, she's going to be a rotter. She will.
As brilliant, acclaimed, and successful as Salute was, it didn't perform quite as well as DNA did commercially. The girls then cancelled a US tour leg, scrapped an entire third album, and the future of Little Mix was put into question. Here, Little Mix reveal what really happened in 2014. Now, going on from the Salute era, the Salute tour was incredible, but you were also supposed to do an American leg, and then it got scrapped.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any say in that? And do you think that not doing that US headline tour affected your chances of breaking America?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what? That was one of the most difficult moments of our careers. We were stuck between a rock and a hard place. It was literally a situation where we either flew to America and did the tour and then had nothing content-wise, music-wise, album-wise for anywhere. So we wouldn't have been releasing for a long time. And we kind of worried that because we were still quite new. Like, we'd lose the UK, we'd lose Europe, we'd lose everywhere else. But we really, really, really wanted to fucking go to America and tour. Do you know what I mean? So it was hard. And I think we were kind of guided in a way that we had to have something to release. I think a group like us at the time, obviously we're a lot more credible now. We've planted our seeds in the industry and we're here and this is like what we're about. Like, we've earned the right to be here now. But back in the day, we were so scared and we didn't want to lose any opportunities. I mean, at the time, we all thought it would be postponed, didn't we? We didn't think it would be cancelled forever and that would be it. We just thought it would be postponed. We'd get loads of material together, release it, and then go out and do that. But it never went to plan, and these things happen, really.
Well, because also that year, you recorded an album that you scrapped. Was it you guys who genuinely weren't confident in the material, or was it the label just telling you, like, if you'd go back and listen to those songs now, do you think the songs weren't good enough?
No, it was us. Do you remember you all came around to my house and we listened to it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were sat on the floor and we were like, we cannot release this. Like, it was good, but we're perfectionists. And if we put our name to something, it has to be incredible. And we were like, it's just not good enough. We know we can do better.
Yeah.
So we pulled the plug. We rang the label and we were like, nah, it's not happening. And we kept 2 or 3 songs and the rest we scrapped and started again.
Yeah.
Which was scary.
But you know what? It took Black Magic to come for us to find the way of the album where it was going to go. I think that's what put it all together. And we all listened to that together and were like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think we've got in our own heads a little bit though. I'm sure if we listen back now, we'd be like, some of those songs weren't really that bad. But I think because it would be writing for so long. And I think at that point, we thought, and the label thought, that we had to go in every session and find the next single for the third campaign. So what, going in every session, pressuring ourselves to get that big song.
Yeah.
And every time we didn't get that big song, we thought we'd failed.
Yeah.
And so we very quickly got into that mentality where if we weren't getting that song immediately, then we were shit at songwriting, we weren't doing a good enough job. And then I think that just spiraled into what was that first record that we had to scrap. I think it was a big lesson for us.
Yeah, we had a lot of pressure on us. And I think also as well, we heard round about that time, didn't we hear something about maybe it's getting dropped?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were shitting ourselves.
Yeah, literally. We were like, great. So not only is the pressure on to write the most incredible songs ever, if we don't nail it, we're screwed. Like, we're dropped. Then what? So I think it was just intense.
As we all know now, Little Mix didn't get dropped. And even though the girls had to cancel the American leg of their Salute tour, they still performed 20 sold-out shows across the UK in 2014. And in doing so, they began establishing themselves as one of the world's greatest live acts. Little Mix also started to form their tour family around this time. And one of the key members of that family is Claudimar Neto. Claudimar first worked with the girls as a dancer on the Move video, and since then he's become their dance captain and a close friend. From Salute to LM5 and beyond, it's not a Little Mix tour without Claudimar. Okay, first question. How'd you become a Little Mix dancer?
Well, the year they won, I had just finished dance school and I was just auditioning. I had got my first 2 jobs, like big major jobs. I got on tour with an artist called Beth Ditto, which I toured with, and then I went on to doing Thriller Live, the musical. So I remember I auditioned for them, but I had no idea it was for them. And I remember there was a really small audition. I think it was about 20 boys. We just went into this room, we did a routine, and we got put into groups of 4s, but we didn't know why. And a couple of days later, we just got a call being like, oh, we need you for a rehearsal. Are you guys available? We were like, yeah, sure. We show up to the rehearsal, which was for Move, the music video. But again, no one had heard the song because it wasn't released yet. And we were learning this routine, but there were just 4 boys in the room. And then I think like halfway through the day, the 4 girls walk in. And I literally was like, it wasn't brilliant. But I was like, I have to keep it cool. And that was pretty much it. From then on, it kind of just like manifested this beautiful relationship that we all had with them pretty much after that.
And obviously you were teamed up with Perrie first, but you would have got a chance to meet all the girls on the Move set. What was your first impression of them?
Well, we actually spent about 2 weeks rehearsing for the music video. So we had a lot of time to really get to know each other, for them to feel comfortable with us boys. And they came across really shy at first, like really into themselves. Again, they were super young. I was really young. I was 23 as well. And they were all like just like 19, 20. So at first they weren't standoffish, but they were very shy and into themselves. And I think with time, they were able to see our personalities and vice versa, which just made everyone just feel really comfortable, which then you can see it in the music video. It seemed like we were having just messing around, which was that. We were just having a ball, we were just having fun. And I think it really built friendships between all of us pretty much off the back of just how comfortable we were all around each other.
And you went straight from doing music videos to doing all the live performances and doing a full-on tour with them. How does rehearsing for a Little Mix tour even begin? And how long do you actually have to prepare for it?
Okay, so their first tour was Salute tour that I did. And it was a pretty intense show. There wasn't really that much time for them to rehearse. So for that particular tour, we only had 2.5 weeks to get the whole show together. It's really intense, like really, really intense. You're talking about learning 2-3 routines a day. For us dancers, that's all we focus on. For them, now they have to match the vocals on top of it. Then they have to match their stamina. Can they actually sing this throughly to make sure that they can do the steps? So they had to figure all of that out in 2.5 weeks. And boom, we're live. We're on. So it was just pure go.
And you saw, even from the Salute tour right through to Get Weird to Glory Days, often you would spend so much time together with the girls even when you're not on stage. What is a day touring with the girls actually like?
Well, you know what? I'm going to say this on record. It's the best freaking time. I love touring. Literally, we have a ball. But on top of it, it's also really hard. And I think that's why the whole family and unity thing really comes so poignant, because there was days even I would wake up and be like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. Like my body is just finished, but you find some kind of passion and love for what you do that keeps you going. Like there'll be days that we'll be having to travel from place to place, especially if you're traveling in the States, where every state is so far away from each other that you're drained from traveling, let alone going on stage every night. So it becomes really hard, but we spend so much time together. We go for dinners together. We hang out, we chill, we do movie nights. We did all of that because there needed to be some form of normality for everyone. And I think that's what built these friendships and then carried on for nearly 10 years now. Like, I never thought I would be friends with these girls. And now, like, they're literally like my baby sisters. Like, I have all their backs. Like, they know, call me at any moment, at any time, and I am there. Like, it's literally that.
You were just at Perrie's. Was it her baby shower?
Yeah.
It's so sweet to see that relationship just naturally continue outside of your work. And I mean, it pays off so much on stage because you see just how comfortable they are with you. And you see how they bounce off of you and that connection. It's just infectious to all of us. It's the same with the girls because they're such close friends. It makes the performance that much better because there's such an energy around them.
Totally. And it just then becomes effortless. You don't feel like they're trying, they're just being. And that's the magic of it. Because you're like, oh, I want to join in. I just want to be part of this. Some of the stuff that's happened on stage is beyond. Shoes breaking, shoes going off, belts ripping, malfunction with underwear. I'm like trying to cover them. Like someone's fallen over, I'm had to catch them. And like when I tell you, my eyes, I'm like performing here, but my eyes are in each girl. I'm like, there's so many videos on YouTube where you can actually see me run across the stage to go and pick something up to get her off. Like, it's just one thing after another. And I've always just got to be prepared like this. I'm always just there. I'm just always on. But it keeps it exciting. It keeps it fun.
And you previously mentioned that Salute was very rushed and a different environment to the tours that have gone on. How has touring with the girls changed, and what's been the biggest difference between each tour?
They've always had really big productions anyway, but LM5 has definitely been the biggest. From Salute, I think it was great to really see them grow as performers as time went on. I think the biggest change is how comfortable they now become on stage. Now, fast forward to LM5, they're women. You know, you can see by how they stand, how they walk, how they carry themselves. And I think that's been the biggest change for me, to see them in that line. Because I've done every single tour since the Salute tour. And it's really been magical to see that growth.
Well, I mean, it's like 10 years on, you can't deny that they're legends now.
But the thing is, people don't see the process. People don't see what goes on behind closed doors. These girls work. They work. Like, we were touring in the States with Ariana, and in our days off, they would be doing stuff. We were filming music videos. They flew back to London within days of doing Madison Square Gardens to come to the Brits, to fly back, to then do the Madison Square Garden that night. Like, people don't see that. And hence why they're going to keep going and keep getting better and better and better. I think they've got another like 30 or 40 years ahead of them.
I mean, we'll still be there in the audience.
Doing power and Salute. Yeah.
All the fans will be there with their kids.
Exactly. It's really funny because I went to watch the Spice Girls. I went with Jade and we sat there. I was like, this is going to be you guys. Where you're going to have someone's mom with their child and grandchild watching you guys because they watched you when they were 5. Mind-blowing. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And I'm so proud of them.
Tickets for Little Mix's 2060 Zimmer Frame Tour are yet to go on sale, but we'll update you as soon as they do. In the meantime, let's return to my chat with Little Mix and find out what they originally thought of Black Magic, how they make their explicit songs child-friendly, and what their favourite tracks from Get Weird are. So when you recorded Black Magic at the time and first heard it as a demo, did you know it was going to be a game changer for you guys?
Yes, I did.
I didn't.
Yeah, me and Lee loved it. Jade did not like.
Yeah. It took a while for me to wrap my head around how we'd gone from such a cool like R&B record to then like pure pop, which I mean, I love pop music. Looking back now, I was probably, my ego was getting in the way a bit, where I'd got so used to us always being involved in every single we had. Like, we were always writing the songs, especially the big ones.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, every single before then we'd been involved in. So when Camille brought in Black Magic, it took a lot for me to put my pride aside and be like, okay, this is a good song. But then obviously once we recorded it, so I was like, I get it.
I think also as well, it was so poppy. I think because we'd just done Salute and we were like, we're maturing, we're R&B now. And then we heard Black Magic, even though it was a sick song, we were like, wait, are we going to do the pop thing again? And then Get Weird ended up being the most colourful, random, pop, fun, like just freaking great album. Like that tour, everything, like when we did all them songs live and stuff, it was just a vibe and it was a party and it was just fun.
I think, Jade, the nail on the head when you said the radio probably weren't ready for that Salute album. And I think that's why it kind of naturally went back to pop again, because it seemed to work for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of became our sound, really, didn't it, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your brand just became like bops, like just 10 out of 10 songs.
And Black Magic was number 1 for weeks, let's not forget.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was number 1 for ages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after all the trauma of feeling that you might get dropped, how vindicating did that feel to suddenly be number 1 again?
Oh, God. What a relief. What a relief, honestly, it was. It was like one of them things where like the stars aligned and Camille just swooped in right at the very last minute when we just needed her and was like, here's your career. Thank you.
Well, speaking of Camille, by Get Weird, you'd sort of started to establish your main collaborators. You'd started working with Camille, you'd worked with M&EK on the previous album, Maegan Cottone, Ian James, TMS. What is it about those collaborators that always make you go back to them?
I think they just get us, don't they? They're like, gone past the point of getting in the studio with writers and being like, what should we do today? We're all friends. So it's like, they know the vibes, they know what we like, they know what we dislike. And it's just fun when we get in there. We don't think, right, this is the brief. We need this. We need a TikTok hit. We need a da-da-da. We're like, fuck that. Let's get some champagne out. Let's have a good time. What are you going through recently? What's happening in your life? Like, la, 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 la.
Yeah.
So we have like little therapy sessions and then we just write and have fun. We don't put any pressure on anything. And if we're not feeling it, like Camille is the best for that. I'm really bad. If I'm not feeling a vibe, I'll hit a brick wall and I'll be like, get me some froyo, I'm off home. Like, I'm done, I'm out. Whereas like Jade and Leigh-Anne are really good at being like, right, how can we make this work? Why don't we switch it up? Let's change the beat. Let's do this. I'm like, nah, it's not working. Don't you think Camille is savage? Like, she'll work on something for 5 seconds. And if she's not feeling it, she's like, right, next. And everyone's like, whoa, we're like 2 seconds into this song. Like, we don't even know what it's going to become yet. And she's like, no. Okay, so next thing. And it's so quick paced with her. And I think that's why it's fun.
Yeah.
And we can write like 7 songs in one session in one day with Camille and Uzo and everyone. Yeah. Because it's just so like quick. Like, it's mad.
Yeah.
But what I love about like people like Maegan Cottone, TMS, like even Ian James, like they're just so creative. They want to do things that no one else is doing. And that's what Little Mix have always been about. Like, we create music.
Yeah.
They don't really know what this is, but it's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's different.
Definitely.
Well, it's so exciting how it's come full circle with Confetti. I mean, the song, because that's literally written by Camille, M&EK, Maegan, TMS. It's like the one song they've all worked on together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have that as your single this year, it's just so sweet to see those relationships continue.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Then you followed up Black Magic with Love Me Like You. Is it true that an explicit version of Love Me Like You exists?
Yes.
Yes.
Fuck me like you.
Naughty girls.
And is that the case with a few of your songs? Because where you've like recorded it in the studio and then because you've got a younger audience, you've like made sure to make clean versions?
Yes.
So many, actually. So many. Like with swear words or naughty words or sexy words. Just so many if you think about it, isn't it, girls?
For me, so I listen back to songs like Adidas. I'm like, how did we get away with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I remember on tour, we'd be sitting on a chair in our lovely little spotty theatres, be like, all day. And I'd look in the audience and some little girl would be like, dream about sex with you. I'd be like,
I don't know.
When I had to bloody rap that rap with all those bloody... What was it?
Oh my God.
My Brazilian.
Yeah.
Filth, I tell you.
It was filth.
But I also think growing up, I don't know if it was the same for you. Like, you remember that thrill of hearing a naughty song and just enjoying it? Like, I don't know, S&M by Rihanna or whatever. Like, we all have those memories as kids.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I even remember like Just Like a Pill by Pink. And she's like, try to come here, scam, she's being a little bitch. And I'd be in the car with my dad and I'd be like, Dad, can I? And he'd be like, go on then. And I'd be like, she's being a little bitch. I think I'll get out of here. And I'd be so happy that I was allowed to like swear because I felt so like grown up. But yeah, I think it's all innocent though, isn't it? When it's in songs, you can get away with it a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously the Get Weird era was huge. What are each of your favourite songs on that album?
Ooh, I actually really I love that album, how it starts with the beginning. No, does it start with the end? Or the beginning? No. The beginning and then it ends with the end. Is that right?
The standard version ends with the end and then the deluxe ends with the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those ones because I feel like songs like that set us apart from like other girl bands. Like, by the way, we can churn out an amazing pop bop, but we can also sing and give you 4-part harmony, have some of that.
A cappella. Yeah. Yeah, I love the end. I think the end is it's just iconic. And I love when we do it live and everyone's like surprised that we could do it live. And I love Weird People. Weird People on tour was just fucking carnage. It was just such a mistake, wasn't it? Like the stuff we used to do. Like, yeah, I think that's why I love the Get Weird album, because it's just a bit wacky, isn't it? It's just a bit random and fun. Yeah, weird people.
My favourite song is on the Get Weird album.
Oh, yeah.
I Love You. My favourite Little Mix song ever.
And Love Me or Leave Me.
Oh, yeah, and Love Me or Leave Me, yeah.
Love Me or Leave Me is, you know, she was slept on. She's the gorgeous hun of gorgeous huns. And she deserves to have, like, a moment. Yeah.
Well, she's certified silver in the UK and she's not even a single.
Precisely.
Really?
Well, that says it all, girls. Maybe we need to think about that for the tour. Just saying.
Well, I would love that.
So that's it for episode 2. Make sure to hit subscribe on Global Player now to hear next week's episode as soon as it comes out. In episode 3, I'll be talking to Little Mix about Shout Out to My Ex, Glory Days, and their LGBTQ+ fan base. I'll also be speaking to Black Magic songwriter Camille and Little Mix's stylists, Zach and Jamie. But before you go, I think we've got just enough time to listen to some messages from the mixers on our Little Mix hotline.
Hello, this is the Little Mix hotline. Please state your name, where you're from, your favourite Little Mix moment, and what Little Mix means to you.
Hi, I am Deborah from Kerry in Ireland, and my favourite Little Mix moment was when Get Weird went to #1 in Ireland, and I remember it beating like massive artists like Bob Dylan, the Beatles, and Elvis, as far as I know. And I just feel like that's testament to the fan base they have in Ireland, and we're very proud of them, and I can't wait for them to come back here and tour in Dublin or Cork or wherever. But like, if they want to tour in Killarney, they can too. Like, so yeah, that would be my favourite Little Mix moment.
Hi, my name's Cassie. I'm from the US, and my favorite Little Mix moment was when they were singing the end and Perrie started to cry and the girls like crowded around her and hugged her and just, you know, put the focus on them. There's so many moments of that happening, and I love the relationship that the girls have. Like, their chemistry just makes it so real. I just love them.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I'm from Canada. One of my favorite Little Mix moments is basically all the interviews from Australia, because they were super jet-lagged and acting hilarious in all of them, and it was super funny and really fun to watch. And I also loved watching the video where Leigh-Anne and Jade were versing each other, and Jade said her favorite member of Little Mix was herself. I found that so funny. And for how much Little Mix means to me, it's like insane how much those girls actually mean to me. I feel like no one really knows the extent of how much they've really like helped me these past few years. I got to like a weird rough patch in these years, and Little Mix was always there to cheer me up and to give me something to look forward to so I could keep going. And each of the girls, even individually, have done some really tremendous things for me. Like, Jade has helped me come to my terms with my sexuality. Perrie has made me a stronger person in general. And Leigh-Anne has showed me to believe in myself and work hard to get what I want.
If you enjoyed The Power of Little Mix and would like to listen to more Pop Buzz podcasts, then you should check out Coming Out Chats. I'm Pop Buzz editor Woodrow White, and in this podcast series, each week we'll be pairing up two well-known faces from the LGBTQ community to share their coming out journeys.
Even as a 5-year-old, didn't know what being trans was or like any of that bullshit, but like in my brain, I've always been a guy, and it was the rest of the world that was confused to me.
Sometimes our guests might know each other.
So this is really interesting, actually, because obviously we've known each other for decades, darling. But I've actually never heard your coming out story.
Or it might be the first time that they've ever met.
Hey, Bella.
Hello, how are you doing? You all right?
I'm all right, babes. How are you?
I'm better now I'm here with you. Hello.
Either way, they're about to share an important part of their personal stories, how they became the people they are today.
I remember I was in first grade, and this kid named Jonathan on the bus called me a lesbian. And I was like, I'm not a lesbian. And then I was like, what's a lesbian?
During this series, we're going to discover how each person's coming out story is unique.
My mum, out of nowhere, just goes, Nick! Your son wants to tell you he's gay!
That there isn't just one way to come out.
When did you first come out? And I'm aware that it's like, come out as what? Which time?
Right, well, we got to keep this under an hour, so I'll pick one.
And how these stories can help us connect and relate to each other.
I feel like that's what makes the community so important, because it's literally community, and you know that the people surrounded by you went through or are going through the same exact thing as you.
So make sure you hit subscribe now and join us next week for Coming Out Chats. Listen on Global Player or wherever you get your podcasts.